you people back in the Shire, turn your porch lights off because we're coming home with a trophy.
Hey there, welcome to SharkCast, Potter podcast dedicated to the greatest sporting club in the history of the world, the mighty Cronulla Sharks. This show is brought to you by Dyson Logistics, the Royal Mighty Yacht Club in Port Hacking, and Jason Hawes at Cripps and Cripps Real Estate. My name is Sam Shinazzi, an OG from 2015. 10 seasons of podcasting. It's been such a joy to do so for everyone who has tuned in over the years, and we are still rolling bigger and better than ever, wider and further than I could ever have hoped to imagine. And tonight I got to hang out with some of our listeners, very last minute get together, and I send my complete apologies about that. But Josh Bowling, Gary Dover and myself were able to be in the same room at the same time, and we went to the Royal Mighty Yacht Club. Their staff put up a great event for us just to hang out and be in a space where we could all watch the game together. And a whole bunch of you guys and girls came down to watch it with us. Really appreciate your time and efforts for being there. Something we'll look forward to doing in the future again when time and space allows. But certainly a great time was had despite the result. Speaking of which, the mighty Cronulla Sharks losing 30 points to 22 to the North Queensland Cowboys up in Townsville. Generally, I thought that the Sharks were the lesser team in this event. I didn't think we were terrible, but I thought the Cowboys did enough to get the win, fair and square. And I thought that we, for not the first time this year, kind of killed off our hopes with just some poor defense, but also poor discipline and errors. And on the back of those, not being able to defend your line for long enough really caught up with us. And it sucks because we all dislike losing so much. There's so much hope and potential in this team, but nights like tonight are not very fun in the overall scheme of things. The Sharks team was a little bit different than usual, a bit of a breath of fresh air in some respects, but out of necessity more than anything. And we knew that Liam Dyson was going to debut. The back line was as per with Atkinson and Trindle in the halves. The forwards had disruption with Royce Hunt having a virus, and he was ruled out earlier in the week, didn't travel with the team, wasn't able to travel with the team, and Jaden Berrell came in for his NRL debut off the bench. So we saw Tom Hazelton come in and start with Oregon Kaufusi. Teague Wilton started the game as well, so the bench was Sifa Talakai, Topi Rudolph, Braden Hamlin-Welly, and Jaden Berrell making his NRL debut. Sam Stonestreet was actually the 18th man. He got closer to another call up for NRL. Murray Taulagi started the scoring proceedings in the 5th minute for the Cowboys down his side of the field. And then it wasn't long before we saw Liam Dyson have a nice try assist early in the game, setting up Ronaldo Mulitalo down the left edge for a nice, classy, simple but effective try. Jeremiah Nanai scored a really good try down our left in the 14th minute. And then Kale Iro crossed in the 32nd with a fun try, helped by a barging Braden Hamlin-Welly off the bench. Kyle Falk then scored the first of his 3 tries of the night in the 36th minute. Braden Trindle with a clever solo try in the 54th. Then Felt in the 63rd, 75th, and then Dan Atkinson with a bit of a consolation try with a couple of minutes to go. It should be noted that all 3 of Kyle Felt's tries came down Ronaldo's side, and now he is not solely to blame for the tries being scored, but for at least a couple of them, he really should have stayed out in that wing. And I feel like Iro could have had the inside man, and therefore Ronaldo would have had a better shot on Kyle Felt. I think there'll be some training drills this week on that side of the field, and maybe there'll be some discussions in the coaching offices as well. We saw Ronaldo as well with a bizarre moment right on half-time. Kick went through, and he was defending it, and rather than using his hands or even just kicking the you-know-what out of the ball, he got a bit fancy with the ball, like it was a soccer ball almost, and had an almost clean sweep of it, and They almost scored, but they didn't, and it was a bizarre way to end the half, and it kind of summed up, I thought, some of the attitude out there tonight, particularly from a guy like Ronaldo, who we know is an absolute superstar, but he was off his game tonight, and I think you'd like some of those moments back, and I have no doubt he'll bounce back. He's that sort of player. So Sharks lose 30 points to 22. Trindle kicking 3 from 4 goals didn't really become a factor in the end, the missed goal, and overall Trindle was fantastic. We'll get into the players shortly, but I thought overall just the discipline and the penalties really cost us in the end. We were scoring tries, then giving the ball up in the next set, just not allowing ourselves to really get ahead much at all in the game on the scoreboard at the very least. As you would have heard in the press conference, and it was alluded to with both Royce Hunt and Gafusi, there was a sickness going through the camp, going through the club really, on both sides, the NRLW and the NRL, admin, coaching. There was just a virus. They work in small quarters, and the virus struck down Royce. Royce Hunt did not play. Numerous bits of correspondence to me during the week about what's going on, why isn't he playing, is it something to do with him not signing and signing somewhere else, and it was all just the fact he literally could not travel. And by the end of the week, he felt better and well enough to play for the Jets, and it's admirable that he did that. So he played big minutes for the Jets as well, it should be pointed out. And I feel like he'll be back next week, bigger and better than ever. Like most of the losses this year, it was one that they will probably regret and feel like they could have won. Cowboys lost some players early on. They were down to a 15-man bench. I felt like most of our fans felt we could come back towards the end of the game, hang in with them, and then be the fitter team at the end of the game and score enough to win the game. But it wasn't meant to be that way. Some turning points in the game. Blake Brayley was sin-binned. Hasn't happened to him for a while. He was a serial sin-binner in the last few years, but tonight he was sin-binned for what was deemed a professional foul on an attacking player going for a try. I thought that it was very much a sin-bin offence, and probably not necessary for him to do it. I don't know if he would have saved the tries, and I don't think it would have been necessarily scored, but he did it, and it was a sin bin. I've heard Sharks fans saying it's not. It's a sin bin any day of the week, so that's just how I feel about that. But it was a changing piece of the game, and we saw Jaden Beryl come on to replace him, albeit 12 men, not 13. And I feel like from there on, the interchange got a bit hard to manage because we saw some players playing some big minutes, some players out on their feet. Most fans have noted Tom Hazelton was really, really looking for a break, and he had a couple of errors in his game and one that would be pretty costly. So I'd like to look back at the tape and see what happened there. Just looking at the players and bit on each, and we'll obviously highlight this during the week a little bit more in depth. But just having one look at the game, I need to study it back, and I'll do it for my own work purposes as well as the podcast. But starting with the young fella on debut, Liam Eisen, I thought that he did himself really proud. He had a couple of errors. We thought he might. I don't think they were nerves. I think one was a really hard kick to handle, and he just had a couple of moments he'd like to take back. But overall, he looked pretty handy out there. He caught a lot of kicks, and he ran for about 150 metres. He had a try assist, which was great. And I just don't think we had the chances that we were looking for his style of game. We weren't making loads and loads of line breaks, so he didn't have much to chase down the middle of the field for starters. He looked pretty good for a very young man out there, very inexperienced. He's only played 10 New South Wales Cup games, so I admired the performance, and I don't think it's the last time we'll see him in first grade. I think it's time for Will to come back next week, no doubt about that. But Eisen will be really, really better for that hit out. And if we see him as a future fullback at the club, which many do, tonight is only a benefit there. I thought Sione Katoa was a little bit more quiet than usual. Ran for about 100 metres. He did make a line break and he had some handy touches. But I thought overall a little bit quieter from him. We saw Jesse Ramian go off with a concussion test. He played 65 minutes. He ran for 150 metres. I thought he was really good. Very much in the heat of the battle, running direct lines when others wouldn't. And I thought CRO had a really good game too. Some defensive lapses there, but that's going to happen. But he scored a try, and he was always making meters and busting tackles. And he's freshly signed a contract, and I think that at the moment I'm pretty okay with our centres, Jesse Raymond and CRO. Ronaldo with a game to forget in defence. His attack was decent. He ran for about 150 metres. I thought there were times where he looked dangerous with the ball, but overall in defence, just a bit indecisive, a bit making the wrong decision when he was being decisive. So just some things he would like to take back to. Dan Atkinson tried his guts out. I love him as a player. I think that him and Trindle are going okay. I would like to see more attacking opportunities for the team, but it's not necessarily up to them to make that happen. Other things have to happen for them to action that. So I thought Dan was pretty good, and I thought Braden Trindle was close to our best player out there. Some errors in his game, but boy, he's one of our best, if not the best, attacking option right now. Scored a try, helped out some other ones, kicked pretty good, got a great 40-20 that really turned our game for a while. And I like the way Trindle's trending, and we're not sure what the future holds for him as far as the ultimate partner for Nico Hines, because Nico Hines is going to be here for a long time. But the way he's going, Trindle's holding his jumper, and he's definitely been a bright spark over some poorer games this year. Oregon Kafusi had some errors in his game. I thought that the run meters were down a little bit. He played for just over half an hour, which is why that would be the case. It looked like he had 3 stints early on in the game, on, off, on sort of thing. And I think that's also to do with the way that the cards felt with the interchange. So it'd be interesting to go back and have a look at how the interchange worked in this game specifically. Blake Brayley had a better game. Aside from the sin bin incident, I thought that he was always trying to spark the attack. Got us a few 6-agains and a penalty, and I thought generally in attack and defence he was fine, and probably one of his more active games for us. Tom Hazelton played 45 minutes, and as we spoke about before, there was a stint there where he really needed a break, and he just wasn't getting it, and the meters became a little bit ineffective, and there was an error, and just not the tall Tom game that we know, but I mean the effort was there. I wasn't mad at him for sort of taking a backward step every now and then, because he just looked like he was so tired. Teague Wilton played the full 80. He ran for 100 metres, and I thought he was solid. I think there's things about his game at the moment that I like. There's some other things that we can improve on, but I do like Teague being out there. I think that just that body that he's got is such a blessing as a footballer. He's a big, tall, physical player, and really good leadership as well for a young guy. Cam McInnes played 50 minutes, and I feel like he needs more time out there. The more he's out there, the better we go. We came off a bye after the West Tigers win. I think that from what I know, unless the virus hit him, which it may have, I thought his body was in good shape to play a bit longer than 50 minutes tonight, so maybe he was affected by the virus going around. Solid as per, but I just thought we needed more of him. Speaking of needing more, Sifa Talakai played about 30 minutes. He looked one of the more dangerous weapons out there for us. He was busting tackles. He was dragging in 3 or 4 guys every time he ran the ball, and generally a real nuisance. He did go out to the right edge while Jesse was having his concussion test, and I thought when he was out on that side, he was a little bit less effective than on his traditional side or in the middle. But Sifa Talakai is just a beast, and I love him being out there, and I think he needs more than the half an hour that he got. Toby Rudolph played 50 minutes, and I thought he was really good. I thought he was one of our better forwards, if not the best. Ran for 130 metres, and generally really busy when out there, and I thought it was another step forward for Toby Rudolph, who we know had a shaky few weeks back, 3 or 4 weeks ago, but his last 2 games have been good, so well done to him. Let's keep improving on that. Braden Hamlin-Welly also recovering from long-term injury, played 27 minutes. looked dangerous when he had the ball, helped set up a try. I'm looking forward to the time when he's either starting or playing bigger minutes off the bench. And Jaden Beryl, who debuted in the NRL, he played just under 20 minutes for us, mainly as a middle. He also played some hooker when Blake Brayley went off to the sin bin. I thought he was better as a middle than a hooker, if that makes any sense at all. His passing game is not that crisp, so probably something that needs to be worked on as far as just the crispness of a dummy half. But he tried really hard. He was physically tough, didn't let us down. If he gets another go, I certainly won't be upset. Super happy for him as a person who I admittedly have never met, I don't think. If we've said hello probably, but we've never chatted or anything. So I have no personal attachment to this guy, but I was really happy that after such a long stint playing at cup level, both in Queensland and New South Wales, he's been given his jersey. And I wouldn't have gone that way. I would have thrown in a Tuku. I would have thrown in a Jack Williams if he was fit. But that's the way they went. And I thought he didn't let anyone down. But yeah, a bit of a bizarre night up in Townsville. Just some really strange errors and mistakes and some weird refereeing calls. And I'm not that guy, as you know, but some weird refereeing things went on. Knock-ons, not knock-ons, etc. I had people texting me who aren't Sharks fans just saying, what's going on with the ref? And that's not a thing. And Fitzy said the sickness wasn't a reason for us to lose. I'm saying the refereeing wasn't a reason for us to lose. They were the better team. I thought they weren't amazing. They were just making less errors than what we were and defended probably a little bit better, although we didn't throw that much at them. So the defense was kind of even for both teams. But it does put us in a slightly awkward position. I think we'll slide down to fourth now. The Dogs right behind us, as well as a few other teams creeping up. So we really need to concentrate on the game against Souths and win that game against South Sydney at Shark Park on Saturday night. It won't be easy, but it's definitely winnable. And I saw enough tonight against the Cowboys to not be too jaded, but it is sort of getting away from us a little bit now, I think, the ultimate dream. We do need to finish in that top four to at least have some sort of shot at that ultimate dream. We did a short podcast today with Dan from Fins Up. We jumped on after the NRLW game and we did a live stream. We had a few people interact with us, which was great. Live streaming is something we're still sort of working out the best and most accurate way to do it for us, particularly because our schedule is a bit all over the shop given our lives, and me in particular, what I do for a living. It sort of affects when I can and cannot do things, but certainly a lot of fun talking to Dan about NRLW. A great win for the NRLW Sharks, 14-0, our first ever clean sheet, comprehensive in defence particularly, just really defended great all game. And first half, our left edge was humming with the likes of Tonegado and Taylor. So a lot to like with the NRLW. The test will get harder. I think we have the Eels next week. I think it's the Eels. And it's going to be a bigger challenge than the Cowboys. The Cowboys didn't throw too much at us. Onward and upward, I'm really excited about the NRLW in general, but also our team as well. So you'll be hopefully hearing a lot about that competition on this podcast when time allows. That's about all I got for now. Second pod for the day, so it's been fun. A very shark-orientated day, and they're my favourite days. And again, thanks to everyone who came down to the Royal Motor Yacht Club in Port Hacking. We had a good time. Good time watching our team play. Didn't get the result we wanted, but we had lots of chats about the grand final and lots of chats about the current team and about the coach, and we had chats about who's the greatest Sharks of all time and that kind of thing. And it was fun. So again, bottom of my heart, thank you so much to those that came down. Thanks to people who got in touch with us and said, we live interstate, we can't do it. Bring the show interstate, and we'll try and do that at some point. And to the people who said, why can't you give me more notice? It's nothing personal. I'm just sometimes a bit hopeless, and we just didn't do it. But in the future. We'll try and give you more notice. Completely appreciate everyone listening. This is SharkCast Pod. We'll be back as soon as we can with another episode. I can't play our beautiful song to go out, but I can play our intro song. This is it. Get in touch with us, sharkcastpod@gmail.com. We're on the DMs, on the social medias. Follow us, like us, tell your friends, tell your fans, that makes no sense. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family, tell the people you meet at regional hotels and motels in the bar, like our friend Adam did, and get everyone listening to SharkCast Pod, because we're not going anywhere. This is what we love doing, and we're going to do it for you as best and as often as we can. SharkCast Pod, talk to you soon. Up.
Sharkies! Sharkies!
Fafita tries to crash his way over, he does! Fafita got the ball over the line!
And to all you people back in the Shire, tell your porch lights off because we're coming home with a trophy.